A day in the life of a stay-at-home burned-out degenerate college student with no friends, no money, no job, no motivation, no social life, no relationship, no love life, no personality, no bitches. No riz, no skills, no sense of direction, no driver's license, nowhere to go, no money, no body.
So there's been this new trend going around on the internet right now. You might have seen it pop up on your algorithms. 20-something-year-olds living with their parents calling themselves a loser. They have no job, no girlfriend or boyfriend, and somehow they're pulling in millions of views. Now, when I originally saw these types of videos, I actually felt really bad for them. I mean, I had some empathy for these people with seeing how their lives turned out and seeing what kind of situation they're in. But after watching more and more of this content, I've came to realize something. All this is just a trend that is rewarding people for adopting a victim mentality and calling themselves a loser. And the reason why a few of these videos may have popped up on your feed recently is because algorithms love high emotional confessionals. And the people in these comments are validating how they feel whenever they post these videos. Most of the time, these videos are shot in super raw form. It's just someone setting up a camera, recording themselves, and going on a rant session. And I'm not gonna lie, in a way, these videos do feel kind of real. It's not super overly edited, and you can tell people are just speaking their minds on whatever problems they're encountering in life. And a lot of these people's problems are genuinely things that I feel would be hard to overcome as well. But the problem with this trend is pity farming. It is all centered around a person's specific problem in life, and all of this pity farming freezes the people in place. It's creating incentives for them to stay stuck when they're getting millions of views off these videos. And it's also shifting the responsibility to other people rather than identifying their own self internally. I feel like there's a big difference between honest struggle and then just a performative helplessness that you're showing off to the internet. Whenever someone posts a video like being 30 years old and having no girlfriend, the whole idea and kind of plot twist behind this is that being stuck is content. The whole trend is people are recording themselves being broke, lonely, sad, or just in general feeling like they're behind in life. They're comparing themselves to other people's timelines and then labeling themselves as a loser. And most of the time, the videos are really simple. The person is recording themselves in their car, in their bedroom with a sad face and sad piano music in the background. The typical storyline behind these videos is I live at home with my parents, I hate my job or I don't have one, I am anxious, depressed, or I can't find a date. And their whole justification for posting these videos online for strangers to see is essentially saying, I'm telling the internet because it's the only place that I feel heard or seen. And I feel like the main reason why this resonates with so many people is because a lot of people can relate to it. Everyone knows what it's like to compare themselves to others or to feel behind in life. But the thing about these people is that they're rewarded for being stuck. They're getting cheap validation from the comments of all these videos, and they're not making any substantial changes to better their life situation. And all of these online platforms are pushing these with incentives. They all have high emotion and a clear narrative about what they're trying to push. There's also a shared misery aspect to this. People can tag their friends or share a similar story that they've had in their own lives in the comment section, which is just fueling this endless cycle of being a victim. And the creators behind these videos are actually gaining a following by complaining about their life. Pity has now become a business model for them where they are sharing all the most intimate details about their life and biggest problems to the internet. It's like if talking about your worst day gives you the best return on your investment, rather than posting your best day where you're improving in life, which gets no views, guess which one you're gonna repeat? And all of the confessional videos are setting up a ceiling for the next one. The more pain they have and the harder hitting story, the bigger payout and follower count that they're getting. All of these videos have the same script. They start out talking about their story and how they're unique in their own suffering. They show self-awareness by saying they know what they need to do, but they can't do it. Then they say how hard it is for people to understand their life, and if they were in their own situation, they would be able to relate better. And then they're embracing the victim mentality by saying the whole system is against me. Society has wronged me. They should accept me for who I am. My parents should help me more. The government or my friends are the problem. It's not me. But whenever you take all internal blame and shift it externally, you're never going to learn and grow from that process. And so whenever I first saw these videos, I kind of had the same reaction that everyone else would. It's like, oh, I feel bad for this person. They had a hard life and they're in a tough situation. But then I came to realize that a lot of the people posting these videos have the self-awareness of what they need to know to change their situation. They are admitting their flaws on camera, but somehow they still know the next action to take to better themselves. I feel like this is all performance art whenever you have the awareness that something needs to change, but you're taking no action to do it. And the thing is, it's okay for people to kind of wallow in their own self-pity, but it becomes a problem whenever it's interfering with other people's lives, like their parents, their siblings, or their friends. Having independency to be living in your parents' basement in your 30s is not a positive thing. And the parents or friends or whoever is taking care of these people is enabling them. It's not like they're just helping them out for a short term. They're essentially having them do their entire chores for them and relying on dependency. I feel like it's different whenever you're going through a tough situation in life and you might have to move back in with your parents or something like that. But with these people, it's a completely different story. Whenever you hear the full story of how they got to be where they are in the first place, you come to realize that a lot of it is on the mindset that they're adopting. They're not just going through a tough time in the current situation where they're like broke right now or they don't have a girlfriend right now. For these people, it's a long-term issue. And people on the internet have begun calling this the loser meta, which is essentially the whole idea of adopting the personality that you're a victim. Their whole identity is based around the validation that they're getting from their comment section. The whole payoff is essentially people feeling bad for them. It could be potentially a problem with self-esteem, or it could be an ego problem. But the issue with these people is if you're not practicing any skills or doing something to get a little bit better every single day of your life, you're never going to be putting in those reps and you're never going to win. But I'm not going to lie, it's not only on these people. People who are buying into the victim mentality is a learned behavior. A lot of times it's just the way that they were raised. Their parents have enabled them for years, and now they're just their landlords or their chauffeurs around town. You're telling me as a parent you couldn't kick your kid out of the house whenever they don't have a job, they don't have any money, and they don't have anything going for them by the time they're like 25 or 30 years old? And it's not just parents either. I mean, the internet literally rewards these people with views and money for sharing their stories. These people are virtue signaling and saying everything's wrong with the world and nothing is wrong with me. But there is an important line to draw in the sand with this situation. Anxiety, depression, trauma, or even just disabilities are all real things. But the real distinction that matters is that the people who are posting these videos don't have an honest struggle. The people who will grow and succeed to be a better person will follow a plan and get help whenever that situation arises. The more that I see these people talking on the internet, the more I realize it's just performative helplessness. It's all about attention seeking and getting people to feel empathy for them. But the real test is if a person is stuck in a consistent pattern for a long time and then decides to make a genuine step in the right direction. That's the real issue. They're not trying to seek any sort of help to pull themselves out of that rut. It's okay to be stuck in a situation, but if you're not making consistent effort to pull yourself out of there and calling yourself a loser on the internet, you're shooting yourself in the foot from the start. And the easy choice is to see a video like this, watch the whole thing, and feel bad for the person. But whenever you watch a few more of the videos that the creator makes, you're able to see more of the consistent patterns and habits that these people are following. You start to see that there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes that they're not showing. And so this is why pity farming on the internet is now backfiring for these creators. Although they may be growing a brand and a following off this type of content, in the long term, they're teaching their brain that the attention they're getting from their struggles is beating out their competence for a better life. And the whole issue behind this is because they build their brand off of sympathy, if they ever choose to level up and genuinely try and build a better life, the whole brand that they've built will just fall off. And so these people are self-sabotaging. And a big reason why they can't pull themselves out of this rut is because of all the validation they're getting from these comments. They've essentially invited the wrong audience to grow as a creator. The people who are watching for pity aren't sticking around to see you get better and progress. And a lot of people who are watching are probably in the same boat. They're all saying, my life sucks, I have no girlfriend, I have no job, I have anxiety and I live with my parents, but they're just wallowing in self-pity and not taking any steps to get better. The thing is, with these people, if they didn't have friends or family who are enabling them, they wouldn't be stuck in the first place. Whenever a family member does something for their kid that they can do themselves, that's not love. It's taking away their own personal competence and growth. Now, whenever someone is around a person like this who might feel stuck, boundaries are the most important thing. Now, they might feel cold in the short term, but having boundaries and making a person do what they say they're going to do is going to make them a better person in the long run. But you have to realize every single time that they're posting a video, they're complaining about their life, or they're looking for self-pity on the internet, what they're doing is reiterating to their subconscious mind that they're not worthy or competent. What these people need to do is adopt a new identity. They have to change the way that they think about themselves and the world around them. This starts off with your thinking and just the way that you talk about yourself. It's okay to say that I'm a person who might suck at what I'm doing at first, but I am persistent and disciplined, and I know I'm going to succeed in the long run. Or it's essentially adopting the mentality that your mood will follow your actions and not the other way around. This all starts with the smallest units of change. Taking 10 minutes a day to learn something new, like a new skill or a new hobby, or even just taking like the smallest bit of progress in your life will make these people feel so much better in the long run. And so what I've been seeing from a lot of these people, that one of the biggest issues that they have is with anxiety. Now, mental health issues are very real, but the only way to escape from these traps of repeating the cycle over and over again is to take that very first step. So for example, if you're scared to talk to people, maybe the very first thing that person could do is just stepping out of their comfort zone 1%. So an example could be if you're just out and about, rather than starting up a full conversation with someone, maybe just giving someone a smile. It doesn't have to be a big change, but making those small steps really make a big difference. But let's be honest, everything that I'm saying will not apply to these people. They are so stuck in their ways and have such a victim identity that none of this will resonate. And so there are 3 main lies that victims tell themselves consistently over and over to stay stuck in that loop. The first lie is, I need motivation first. The issue with this is that action actually produces the motivation. The most successful people in life will take action even when they don't feel like it. And the second lie that they're telling themselves is that their problem is unique. The thing is, your problem isn't unique, but your story is unique. Every person goes through something difficult within their life. But whenever someone says, I'm this special snowflake and no one else can understand my story, they're just setting themselves up for failure. And the third lie is that the world and people should accept me for who I am. My counter to this is that people should accept your morals and values. When you have dignity, self-discipline, and really genuinely try and provide value to the world, people will respect you more. And so whenever someone says that they're lonely because they don't have a boyfriend or they don't have a girlfriend, or for any situation for that matter, they could be broke or they could be 30 with no ambition in life, I understand that poor mental health explains the situation, but it doesn't necessarily excuse it. I think it's really important for people to have empathy for anyone struggling with mental health issues, but it gets to a point, right? These people online have had years to improve. They've had so much time to take the smallest step to change their life. It's like if you're past your mid-20s or 30s, you don't have an excuse anymore. You've had years to go to therapy, to try out meditation or breath work, or just take those small steps of trying to improve your life. And at the end of the day, the biggest issue with these people is their identity. Labeling yourself as a loser is an absolute mindset. And that's one of the worst things that you can say to yourself. Instead, just label yourself to be like a learner, someone who is consistently getting better, even if at times it's not showing. Instead of pity and asking other people to carry your weight, you should start taking pride in realizing that you could carry your own weight. And I think at the end of the day, although you could place so much blame on other people, I mean, they could blame the algorithm for pushing all these videos on other people, or you could blame your parents for being an enabler, but it's all deeper than that and starts with a person's true identity. I think if you're going to consistently label yourself a loser for clicks on the internet, you're already screwed from the start. When I first watched these videos, I had some compassion for them. As time has went on, I realized that they're so far beyond being saved. They're comfortable with their own situation, and I don't know if anything will be able to change that other than themselves. But let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. Do you agree with my points, or do you feel like these people are genuinely victims? And if you like this style of content, feel free to check out some of the other videos on my channel similar to this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.